Well, John, the whole notion of climate change in this country is a bit like a political hokey-cokey. One leg in with President Obama, 2 or 3 legs out, you could say, under Donald Trump, and now one leg firmly back in again today under President Biden. And there is no doubting his commitment. These are the most ambitious targets in the US ever, effectively doubling the amount of reductions that Obama signed up to under the Paris Climate Accord. The problem, of course, is America is a massive polluter. As Greta Thunberg, the activist, described today, it is the biggest emitter in history, with its millions of cars and planes and power plants. So will Americans sign up to these targets, or will they simply think that this is the latest political fad that will be rolled back the next time the Republicans gain power? There's no doubt these targets can be met. The question is, will they be?
Because scientists tell us that this is the decisive decade. This is the decade we must make decisions that will avoid the worst consequences of the climate crisis.
A stark warning from President Biden, the leader of one of the world's biggest polluters, who chose Earth Day to attempt to put America back on the climate map.
The United States sets out on the road to cut greenhouse gases in half by the end of this decade. That's where we're headed as a nation.
More severe weather.
His hope that by recommitting to new ambitious targets, the world will take America seriously again in a post-Trump world, and other nations will follow suit.
Well, Mr. President, thank you very much.
In normal times, the 40 world leaders would have created a mini climate crisis of their own, flying to Washington to attend Biden's summit. Instead, they zoomed in, including Xi Jinping of China, the world's biggest carbon offender, who characteristically attempted one-upmanship with his pledge.
China has committed to move from carbon peak to carbon neutrality in a much shorter time span than what might take many developed countries. And that requires extraordinarily hard efforts from China.
We in India are doing our part.
India's Modi, in the midst of a deadly COVID resurgence, also zoomed in, as did Russia's Vladimir Putin, despite increased political tensions with Joe Biden himself. He said Russia was genuinely interested in galvanizing international cooperation to find effective solutions to climate change. Those solutions can't come fast enough. The planet is already 1.2 degrees hotter than pre-industrial times. But to avoid going over the critical target of 1.5 degrees, global carbon dioxide emissions have to drastically decrease. The problem is they're continuing to rise. And as economies reopen post-COVID, a dangerous surge is expected, which could blow the carbon budget altogether. This year alone, America has witnessed Texas freeze over in unprecedented ice storms that followed devastating fires on the West Coast last year, causing tens of billions of dollars worth of damage, with drought conditions now threatening exactly the same again this summer. Which is precisely why activists immediately told Biden his target to cut US emissions in half by 2030 simply wasn't ambitious enough.
We have to end fossil fuel subsidies, stop new exploration and extraction, especially the US. It is the biggest emitter in history.
It was left to Boris Johnson to voice praise for Biden, albeit in his own inimitable way.
It's very important to go back to the original words of President Biden, because this is not all about some expensive, politically correct green act of bunny hugging. This is about growth and jobs. And I think the president was absolutely right.
Biden is right. The challenge will be persuading gas-guzzling America to take him and the climate crisis seriously. Because without them on board, there's little hope for the rest of us.